Good afternoon. Today is December 21st, Monday. We're going to take a look at Apple. We'll look at Tesla and also NIO. This is Patrick, and you're trading with Prime. We're going to get into a quick trade review that we did on Apple today. I'm going to dive into the reasoning behind the trade. I know the broad market was a little bit scary. Overnight session was definitely a little bit scary. So I don't know. These trades, sometimes it's one of those things where you just have to be a little bit committed in the trading and not really paying attention to the news, excuse me. So what we see in Apple on the daily chart, we do see a breakout. It was consolidating in this bullish consolidation pattern. And then since then we have broken out. We back tested once right here, and now this is our second back test. Now soon the whole buy the dip thing isn't going to work, but until that happens, I've been saying in these videos, buy the dip until it stops working. And so the question then becomes, well, when is the dip actually going to come in? Because we opened up the day below yesterday's low print, which technically speaking is very bearish, but overall it's in an uptrend. It is definitely bullish on the daily chart and the weekly chart. We're going to dive down there into the intraday time frame. I'm going to first start off with the hourly chart, and let me make sure that just want to make sure that the after hours session is off. Right now, after hours, by the way, we're trading at 130.95 to 130.98. We picked up the January 15th calls. They were the 130 calls. And so what I was kind of looking at this morning was, I don't know, keeping this in context of what was going on in the morning and really seeing a big picture on the broad market and what the broad market was doing. It was a very scary day. And so the first trade that we took was in SPY. It was underwater a little bit. But then, of course, I think the contracts we picked up were $1.13, which were, so basically that'd be $113 per contract. They got as high as $275 per contract, depending on how many you bought. I definitely would not be willing to hold that overnight. It was a day trade. Also, with those calls, when you're looking at that heavy of a return, I don't know. Maybe part of me thinks it's a little bit, I don't know, greedy to try to squeeze every last penny out of it. So, even if you can get 50 cents to $1 out of them, that's great. But holding for $1 or $2 or a $3 return on something that was fairly cheap doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But then again, I mean, the SPY is doing really good as far as today's dip buying opportunity went. So maybe if somebody did decide to hold it, that could be very lucrative in the morning, but you're kind of risking a lot and not booking profit. So onto the Apple, just to see what's going on. We have this pattern that we were talking about where it initially broke out. It's back testing. This is the breakout that I was talking about, the rising or the bullish consolidation. It looked like that. So it broke out. We back tested once, twice, 3 times. Here's time number 4 on the hourly chart, and then on the daily chart, definitely that looks like it's just one back test, but you've got a bunch of them in here, and it can continue doing this. And as far as I'm concerned, we can just keep buying the dip as long as we know what price we're going to stop ourselves out of the trade. If it didn't find support in this area, it definitely would have found support. Well, not definitely. Nothing's really a definite, but there was a gap fill down here that it could have found support at. We've seen this lately with the market is not wanting to fill these gaps all the way. I kind of been seeing that, noticing that in the last several times. Here's another one back here. There's a gap down in this area, and so it came down to, but didn't fill the gap completely. So this is the hourly chart. Let's go down to the intraday, maybe a lower time from. Here's the 15-minute chart. And actually, I'm gonna go down to the 5-minute here in a minute. But I saw a reversal right here on the 15-minute, and right out of the gate, as soon as you start seeing this, and you have these prices, like you have the high of this reversal candle down here, or this bearish red candle right here. Once this closed, a 15-minute time frame above that price, it alluded to higher prices to come, and so then you saw this bullish consolidation on a 15-minute time frame. To me, it's worth it. It simply is just raising your stop loss up to the next candle right here. You see there was some resistance on this candle here, and then it found support here. So you could raise the stop loss up to that area. So if you are waiting out this consolidation, price can come back and consolidate. And in my opinion, it's worth it to do that. I like to give the chart a little bit of the room to consolidate throughout the day. And as you can see, it eventually broke through this price. It rallied up here. Finding resistance up here, although people would look at this and say, well, that could be the sign of a reversal candle. That is true. It is on a little bit heavier volume. However, that doesn't necessarily always mean that it will retrace. This is a 15-minute chart, so if I put it on the hourly, you might see it develop into something different. When the chart really begins to do this, I do like to go up to the higher time frame, and what that'll allow me to do is really start to see the pattern form into something else. So now I would raise my stop loss up to this area up here, which I'll give you a price on that. It's around 126. So like I said, we're in the 130s, which is way up here already. So let's see where we open the day tomorrow. We are above this price area, so I would expect something like this. So let's say the prior high is up here around 129.20. And let's say tomorrow we open up print is right here. I would expect it to pull back at least to the previous highs right in here. But to be honest, it could come down here and fill the gap. And then so what we'll probably do is we'll probably end up moving our stop loss up to this price just below the gap. So the opening price fall down to the gap. If the gap fills and it starts trading below the gap, I'll go ahead and exit the trade. As far as price targets go, I did swing that full position. So as far as price targets go, I would be looking at something like this. Let me do one of these. I'm looking for a move in Apple that looks kind of like this. It starts to become a little bit parabolic. I know it's way too early to say that recent price action is going to turn into something parabolic, but this is really just what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a squeeze up here to 137. I think it's safe to say if we open up in this gap up here, you're going to find resistance around 131.48 in that price zone. In fact, after hours, it might have found resistance there and pulled back. So I'm not really sure. We could turn on extended hours to see what's really going on, but I would put more weight during the regular trading hours, although sometimes we'll see a chart do that where it'll put in a reversal after hours or pre-market, and then it will follow through once the market opens. Definitely things to keep an eye on. So I would definitely look at this price right here and say, well, this could be pretty heavy resistance. One thing is for sure though, this would be the upside target. If we get halfway up this red reversal candle back here, the 137.98, if we get halfway up that candle, we could find a little bit of resistance. But at that point, I would suspect that Apple will go ahead and fill all the way to the highs again. Again, this is all way too early to say, because to be honest with you, we could see a little bit more consolidation in here, and then it would start to rally up here a little bit. So all of it's way too soon to be talking about. Let's look at Tesla, since we know that I saw the news had a little bit to do with Tesla. No, I take that back. The news was Apple news, but it apparently affected Tesla chart. We'll get into that, but what we have in Tesla, and I just kind of saw this breakout on Friday, and I kind of wondered if that was going to turn into a failed breakout. And of course, today it did turn into a failed breakout. I did not take a trade to either side. I'm just watching Tesla to see how it was going to treat this overall bullish consolidation pattern. And it broke out of that pattern and then fell back below. It is said in the market that if you have what's called a failed breakout, that is more bearish than if price just stayed in the bullish consolidation. This pattern by itself, the breakout and then the failed breakout, becomes more bearish than if price just stayed in this bullish consolidation. I'd say that one more time. So let's see what happens with Tesla. I'm not technically looking for a trade one way or the other, but we'll see what happens. I personally, I'd probably be looking for more of a short trade. The only problem is we're so high on the chart that in such a bullish pattern overall, just from the March lows, that it's we all hear the sayings about Tesla and how many have lost their fortunes trying to short Tesla. But technical analysis wise, you do see a high up here of 684.75. At least on the hourly time frame, you do have a reversal candle up here, and then you have confirmation right here on this red bar. And then you had a bear flag play out from the red bar. A bear flag played out, and then it just broke through. So it's almost to its downside target. So maybe it'll find support down here around 644 and then turn back up and then try to go after the highs again. What I did think was interesting is why they said I thought it was interesting how the news on Apple affected Tesla chart, but I didn't see it really affect too many other charts, some of the other EV names. Why didn't it affect NIO? I don't know. There were several electronic vehicle names that it didn't look like it had an impact at all. So I don't know if maybe Tesla sold off and they were just accrediting it to Apple good news, but I just thought that was a little bit strange. At this point with NIO, same thing. I mean, you had this pullback. Overall, this entire price action in here in itself is bullish. It almost looks like a giant bull flag. I would still like to see consolidation in NIO. We did enter long down here. I forget what day with it. I forget what day this was. It was last Monday we entered long. Somewhere down in this. It was either the prior Friday or Monday we entered long. I've already closed out of that position coming into resistance. So since then it has broken out of resistance, which here is a resistance level. It's since then has broke out, back tested, and now it's rallying again, putting in optimal entry if you did decide to go long on that today. To me, it's a little bit extended from the lows back here, and we're already up around 23% from that bullish consolidation period. So I did not take the long trade, so congrats to anyone who did take it. And yes, at this point, I would be probably expecting 51.90 up here to 54.35 and then all-time highs. I don't think that it's going to take out the all-time highs. I think that there needs to be a little bit more consolidation, but it is NIO and anything is possible, so you never know. Was that the last one we're going to look at? I think that's it. If you guys have gained value out of this video, please feel free to hit the like button. If you would like to join the Discord, rtbtrading.com, get your 1 week free trial, and we will see you guys in the next video.